has Cherie Sam in the front court along with the freshman Nashima Hillman. Mara Cunningham is in the middle, and the starting backcourt of Rhonda Blades and Ginger Jarrett. Vanderbilt is on the floor and ready to go. Tennessee has not yet broken from the huddle. Sally Bell, John Morningstar, and Doug Cloud are the officials. Tennessee leads this series all-time 20-3. All 3 wins for Vandy have come here at Memorial Gym, but as we mentioned at the outset, Tennessee has won the last 6 head-to-head.
Well, you can really throw everything out when they play here at Memorial Gym because it usually is a close game. In the 3 games that Vanderbilt won, 2 of those in 87 and 91 where they beat Tennessee, Tennessee went on to become national champions.
And we're underway. The tip controlled by Tennessee. Latina Davis picked it out of bounds.
I think it's really important for Vanderbilt to get their offense going. Tennessee will play that pressure man-to-man defense the whole game. But Vanderbilt, who has a perimeter game, has a lot of three-point shooters, need to get their outside game going.
Nashima Hillman is number 4. And this is Cherie Sam. Now Mara Cunningham, junior from Fairfax, Virginia. 30-second shot clock in women's basketball. And with 9 on the clock, Cunningham missed. Sam missed. Cunningham got a hand on it. Out of bounds? No. Controlled along the end line by Davis.
Both coaches talk about rebounding being a key in this game.
And at the other end, the layup missed by Roosevelt. And controlled by Hillman.
Jim Foster really feels that this Vanderbilt team is a little bit different than they've had in the past. It's always been a finesse team, but they're bigger and stronger, better athletes, quicker this year.
Sam with the miss, and the 2 teams appear a bit nervous at the beginning, as you might expect in a big game such as this with a big crowd and national TV audience. There's a 3, and nothing shaky about that shot from Rhonda Blades.
Well, this game has become such a rivalry as far as 2 years ago, sellout. Even the Chancellor could not get in. Now they're playing home and home because in the SEC, you only play 1 game, but now Tennessee and Vanderbilt are going to play back-to-back.
And this is the game between the 2 this season that will count in the SEC standings. The meeting in Knoxville in February will go into the books as a non-league game. And they draw these kind of crowds. Why not play twice and generate the revenue? Sam strong through the lane to score. 5-0 Vanderbilt, and already Nikki McCray is getting ready to check in at the scorers table for Tennessee.
That's just a breakdown on defense right there by Tennessee, who Pat Summitt has said, you know, our team has always been built around defense, so she gets on her players when they break down. 2
minutes played, and Tennessee has not yet scored.
Tennessee, on the other hand, offensively, Sean, is a team that likes to get the ball inside. There they get it to Passion Thompson. They move the ball around real quickly, and their post players are so strong inside. But they're a team that also is a little bit better perimeter this year.
Strong drive, Jared. Nice bounce pass, and the easy 2 for Hillman. Nashima Hillman, the freshman from Garfield Heights, Ohio, coming off her career high. 17 points here at Memorial Gym on Thursday night in the win over Arizona. Dana Johnson, nice move along the baseline to score her first bucket.
Well, that's a tough shot inside right there. As you said, she was on the baseline underneath the basket and just powers herself up. Vanderbilt likes to play a matchup zone. They switch things up. It looks like a 2-3, a 3-2, a 1-3-1, a 1-4, and really confuses the offense.
Cherie Sam the miss, and the rebound pulled down by Johnson. Vanderbilt coach Jim Foster compares his zone defense to the zone defense played by the Temple men, if you follow men's collegiate basketball, and a foul called against Vandy.
Boy, that's a great lob by Michelle Marciniak. M&M, they like to call her. She's been moved to the point position this year, where Tiffany Woosley for 3 years was at that position. Now has freed her up to shoot the ball a little bit more, but she makes a great entry pass lob into Dana Johnson.
Nikki McCray has checked in, as has Lori Milligan, number 11 for Tennessee. The foul on Nashima Hillman, her first, and the first called in the game in more than 3 minutes of action. And Dana Johnson is shooting 2. She's a 62% free throw shooter.
and that's one area of the game she would really like to improve on. She goes to the line so much. She went to the line 171 times last year and still only shot 63.7 from the line. So she needs to become a better free throw shooter because she gets to the line so much.
Dana's a senior from Baltimore, out of Western High School. Dana and Michelle Marciniak are the only Lady Vols to start every game this season. Trouble getting it in. Finally, Cunningham did to Cherie Sam. Crowd wanted a foul. There was none, and Passion Thompson stripped it away. McCray with a quick first step. Lost it in traffic. Blades pushing, 1-on-2. Pull up three. She's fouled. A chance for a 4-point play for Rhonda Blades, who hit the three-pointer and was fouled while shooting.
Well, to get that break going was the block, and Vanderbilt leads the conference in blocks with 6 a game. You can see good concentration by Blades.
And the foul was on Tiffany Woosley, her first, and the first against Tennessee. Blades at the line. Completes the 4-point play. And Vandy leads 11-5 in the early moments of the first half. Thompson off the nice feed from Lori Milligan. 4 points for Passion Thompson, who averages 7.6 per game. Right into Hillman. Lost it as she tried to make a move around Dana Johnson.
And really didn't need that dribble, and there it shows the inexperience as far as the freshman is concerned. But I tell you, Jim Foster says, we're a young team, but our athletes are pretty good. He was saying that Nashima Hillman has made everybody better around them.
Particularly on defense, because she's so active on defense. Tried for three, goes in for Tiffany Woosley, and the UT fans chant woo. And there are plenty of fans here dressed in orange who've made the trip from Knoxville and other parts of this state. So many volunteer fans throughout the state of Tennessee. Out of control, McCray. Battle for it. Foul called. And it's going against Vanderbilt.
Stanford during the season. And they played earlier in the year, and Tennessee won that game big, 105-69, shooting 61% from the floor.
Tennessee has been able to get the ball inside. They've made 4 of 7 shots. Now 4 of 8 is the three from Milligan. Went spinning out. Sherry Sam, and now Rhonda Blades. And just into the game, number 12, Michelle Palmisano. She's a good three-point shooter.
Palmisano, a transfer out of UCLA.
Sam. In a mismatch, she wound up with Lori Milligan trying to cover at just 5'8". And Sam sent Milligan to the floor and scored with ease, 13-10 Vandy. McCray. Underneath alone is Johnson. And a nice shot. She had to come out from underneath the bucket to score.
Vanderbilt is going to have to do a better job in that matchup as far as stopping Dana Johnson right on the baseline. She's just sneaking right under the basket. Good back door right there.
Angela Gorsica fed Cherie Sam. And a foul was called against Tennessee.
Here's a great matchup. McCray against Sam, and she gets picked off right at the top by Blades, and Sam makes a nice jumper. But Tennessee worked on that in practice as far as you've got to let the defense slide through that pick, and a great pick by Rhonda Blades. Coming into the game, Jim Foster said that whoever Nikki McCray guards is going to be the key player to stop. And obviously with McCray on Sam, that's who it is.
Sam missed a three-point try. Battle for the rebound. Controlled by Hillman. And she was fouled. The previous foul was on Nikki McCray. And this foul is on Passion Thompson, her first, third on the team.
That was really great hustle by the Commodores as far as staying after the offensive boards.
Now Hillman at the free throw line. She's only a 42% free throw shooter this year. 19 of 45. She has one interesting tendency. She wraps her ankles in tape, and then on her left ankle writes the names of her teammates who are playing, and on her right ankle she writes the names of those who are injured or out of action for other reasons. and also some key slogans that she wants to remember during the game.
And you know, it's so funny, people that know Vanderbilt and Tennessee, these are kind of different teams this year for both Jim Foster and Pat Summitt. Summitt's team is a little bit looser with Marciniak and Paxton Thompson and Tiffany Johnson. They're a little bit, you know, more animated. And then Vanderbilt, on the other hand, they've got some players also that are just intense and going after it.
It's going to be a long afternoon for Vanderbilt if Tennessee continues to get the ball in close for easy shots, as they have here in the first half. Dana Johnson, the last bucket. Paul Masano forced one up. It was an air ball controlled by Passion Thompson. And Jim Foster is changing his defense. Because ordinarily he lets the players change the defense, but they didn't change into what he wants to see against this Tennessee offense.
There's that baseline again.
Johnson eating them up. Tennessee has hit 7 of its last 8 field goals. And now the Lady Vols lead by 3. Hillman got the bounce.
That's a great move by Hillman. She never puts the ball on the floor.
Nearly 7 minutes played in the first half. McCray right inside. Johnson in the lane a long time. Got the bounce. That's 8 out of 9.
I tell you, Rhonda Blaze is in there with those quick hands. Couldn't knock it away that time.
10 points already for Dana Johnson, averaging 12 and a half per game this season. Gorsuch, a college player on the floor at 6'7", got it inside. Hillman. She has 6.
I think what Vanderbilt is doing to keeping them strong in the game is they're continuing to go inside, and they've got some players that they feel they can compete with the bulk of Tennessee this year.
Woosley, guarded by Sam, and a steal by Paul Masano.
Paul Masano, a great three-pointer shooter, and then coming out of California, the 4th leading scorer behind 4 big names. Cheryl Miller, Terry Mann, and Lisa Leslie, all post players.
Palmisano was fouled by Dana Johnson. You mentioned that Michelle transferred from UCLA after 1 year, a year in which she made the Pac-10 all-freshman team and averaged over 11 points per game. But she wasn't very happy there. Went back to her roommate one night, started talking about her unhappiness. Says, I'm thinking about transferring. Her roommate, Meredith Childs, a tennis player at UCLA, said, I'm transferring too. I'm going to Vanderbilt. Why don't you come to Vanderbilt? And she said, sounds good to me.
Well,
here she is.
The thing is, she loved being at UCLA and loved playing for Billy Moore. And then when Billy Moore left, she was not happy with the situation that happened. Because I tell you, Billy is one of the best coaches to coach. He won a championship in '70 at Fullerton, in '78 when I was there at UCLA, and was our Olympic coach in '76. And Michelle just said, hey, I'm going to play where I'm going to have some good coaching and going to a good school. She's an engineer major.
Jim Foster told us yesterday he was happy to have somebody of Michelle's background on his team, but he wanted to be sure before she transferred to Vanderbilt that she could be happy sitting on the bench. And she said, if I have to come off the bench and play, I'll be happy. And she's accepted that role.
Well, she works hard, and she'll get her playing time.
And her free throws have given Vandy a 1-point lead. 12 minutes left in the first half. Underneath the block by Gorsuch, and another block. On a 2-shot foul called. Jim Foster told us yesterday the worst part of women's basketball officiating is shot blocking, because it's so rare. The officials don't see it very often, and they anticipate fouls that aren't there, and he was right up off the bench hollering on that call.
Well, they call that foul down low, I think, against Michelle Palmisano. Mara Cunningham did not get it, but she had 2 great blocks in a row. This team has already had 12 blocks on the year in 1 game.
And the first free throw is missed by Tiffany Johnson, the freshman from Charlotte, known as Baby T.
Baby T, she got her first start in the very first game that Tennessee played, and Pat Summitt rarely does that.
Only the 3rd player in the Summitt era to start her first game at Tennessee. Held ball, and it'll be Vanderbilt ball after this timeout. Vandy leads by 1.
What a great day to buy a car.
I thought the days of women being treated differently than men were long gone.
This is the vanity mirror so you can check your makeup.
Then I tried to buy a car. Something reliable,
It's safe.
sporty.
How much you looking to spend?
I want to spend about $12,000.
Rich can help you out. I'll be back to you soon, okay?
When I got to Saturn, Dave Pierce took the time to answer all my questions. Not only did I buy a Saturn, I thought it might be fun to sell them. You know what I like best about working here? Showing guys the vanity mirror.
Sure, Gold MasterCard has at least a $5,000 credit line, so you can buy all kinds of things, but you can't buy time. Well, I don't know. You could buy plane tickets and fly across 5 time zones, and it'll be even earlier than when you left. You can even go to Switzerland, and that's a great place to buy time. But wherever you go, you won't have to waste your time looking for a great exchange rate, because with MasterCard, a great exchange rate is exactly what you'll get. So I guess Gold MasterCard really can buy you time. Just remember to set your watch back. Watch back. Now, how's that for a useful card? Gold MasterCard. It's more than a gold card. It's smart money.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Gotta get some rest. Tomorrow I'm pitching the coup computer account.
Me too. We're competitors.
Sorry, pal. I hear we've got the inside track.
Well, get that rest.
I will.
His stuff will do nothing for his cough.
Vicks NyQuil, the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever so you can rest medicine.
Welcome back to Nashville, Tennessee. Sean McDonough with Ann Myers at Memorial Gymnasium. That Final Four appearance for Vandy in 1993. The school's only appearance in the Final Four. This program, women's basketball, became a varsity sport here at Vanderbilt in the 78-79 season. And Jim Foster is the 3rd head coach of the Vanderbilt women's basketball program.
And they lost to the eventual national champions, Texas Tech.
Michelle Palmisano, now Angela Gorsica. Back to Palmisano. Palmisano and Gorsica have something in common. Each has a grandfather who played in the World Series, Major League Baseball, back in the 30s.
Coming out of that timeout, Tennessee dropping into a 2-3 zone.
And a three-pointer dropped in by Ginger Jarrett. She has taken 63 shots from the floor this year. All but 8 of them have been three-point attempts, and she's a 42% three-point shooter.
And she grew up being a UT fan. She is from White County High School out of Sparta, Tennessee, and just grew up orange and wanted to go to Tennessee and made the decision to come to Vanderbilt. Her very first game, she passed the ball to a Tennessee player in that Tennessee game.
In her very first play in that game, and Coach Foster took her out immediately and asked her if she was still a Tennessee fan.
Yeah.
Ball rebounded by Vanderbilt's Kelly Doherty, number 44, who's in for the first time. Vandy on a 7-0 run to open up a 4-point lead.
I think going into that zone for Tennessee, trying to stop the inside play and force Vanderbilt to take those outside shots. But they got some great shooters.
Good ball movement, but quick reaction to the perimeter by McCray. Shot off a 3-point try by Palmisano. Into Gorsica, and she was bumped on the floor. There was a reach-in foul against Michelle Marciniak. Her first, and the 5th against the Lady Vols. Abby Conklin, 52. Dana Johnson, 53. Onto the floor for Tennessee.
This is the second game that Tennessee has been full strength. Against Texas, they had everybody. Nikki McCray was back, and they've got 10 players throughout most of the beginning of the season. They've had 9 and 8 players because of the injuries.
Jared missed that 3-point try, but it was kept alive in the corner by Doherty.
And Vanderbilt only has 9 players on their roster this year because of red shirts and injuries.
Gorsica hit the side of the basket with her turnaround midway through the first half. Vanderbilt by 4. Tiffany Johnson. And now Marciniak, transfer from Notre Dame. Again, they got it in to Johnson, and it fell in off the front rim, and she has 11 points.
Well, Pat Summitt was saying Dana Johnson has the biggest presence for Tennessee, and there's a big presence for Vanderbilt. Kelly Doherty, another transfer out of the Pac-10 from Stanford.
Played 2 years at Stanford and was a member of the Cardinal '92 National Championship team. Kelly Doherty, senior from Leavenworth, Kansas, with her first points. Marciniak. Nice move into the lane. Gorsica blocked it. Marciniak hit
Another
the deck.
block.
Whoa,
Another
they're swatting everything, but this time a foul's called.
Well, they're going to call it on Cherie Sam from behind, but great persistence by the Lady Vols, continuing to attack inside and going up against the trees of Vanderbilt. But Marciniak with a little spin move right there. Gorsica with a nice block. She gets the ball back, falling down, and Gorsica gets another piece of it, and they call it from behind. All ball, but maybe on the follow-through. And that's a tough call in basketball when the officials call it from behind.
Foul was on Cherie Sam, her first, fourth on the team. 2 shots for Dana Johnson. It was 1 out of 2 from the line. Last year when these two teams played here in Nashville, it was Johnson who hit the bank shot from in close to the buzzer to beat Vandy 84-82. Blades back in for the Commodores, replacing Sam.
And then the next 2 times they played, Tennessee 79-57 and 82-57.
The game here was the only close one.
And it was kind of a psychological edge. If Vanderbilt wins that, who knows how those other games are going to go.
Two-point game. Vandy with the ball in the lead. Pressure from Tennessee. And one of the keys today for Vanderbilt, says Coach Foster, will be how they handle the press from the Lady Vol.
That's right, taking care of the basketball, because this pressure defense creates a lot of turnovers, but Vanderbilt has been pretty poised so far.
Doherty. The pull-up. A little bit short. Gorsica and Tiffany Johnson. Held ball. Tennessee ball.
Pat Summitt, one of the few places that I know of that, or any place that the benches are on the baseline, and Jim Foster likes it. It's a tough gym to come in and play, but Pat Summitt has a tough time talking to her team when they're down on the other end.
As they are now in the first half while on offense. There's Johnson on the baseline again. That time she was double teamed and traveled. That's really the first time that Vanderbilt has done a good job stopping that move from Johnson along the baseline.
It was a good rotation defensively. It just stayed right down on the baseline. Kelly Doherty to help out.
2-point lead for Vanderbilt. Trying to go to 13-2. These two teams have posted impressive records against very stiff competition, each playing regularly here at the beginning part of the season against top 25 opponents. Blades, bad pass, tipped away, and here comes McCray. With the burst of speed, blocked by Gorsica. McCray another miss. Tiffany Johnson, blocked by Gorsica.
And she is happy about that. Got the crowd in it.
And they'll stay in it. Paul Masano a 3. Conklin trying to quiet the crowd. Saved by Blades. Three excellent three-point shooters on the floor now with Palmisano, Blades, and Jarrett. They go into Gorsica. Missed from in close. Gorsica was fouled. What a lift. Angela Gorsica has given Vanderbilt off the bench with her scoring and shot blocking.
A 6'7" sophomore, good persistence. Last year they had Heidi Gillingham at 6'10", was an All-American. But Jim Foster said once he recruited Angela Gorsica, he was able to forget all about Heidi, and you can see why. Gorsica on the defensive end, her shot blocking is tremendous. Much better defensive player than Heidi Gillingham, but getting stronger on the offense.
And a whistle, And a lane violation called against Tennessee. So Gorsuch will have another chance.
Not the kind of mistakes that Pat Summitt likes to see her team make.
Tina Davis back in. Abby Conklin goes to the bench. The foul was on Tiffany Johnson, her first. Gorsuch another try to convert a three-point play, and she makes it. And there's a timeout on the floor in Nashville. Vanderbilt has its largest lead.
Do you know how much sprinkles you got? More from this can than you thought. Fill the bowl from a Pringles can. Got as much as this bag. Amazing, man. Can you believe how much Pringles you got? So pop, the Pringles don't stop. Get the great taste you want, not the greasy mess this bag's got. Pringles, once you pop, so much more than you ever thought. You can't stop.
When you manage a restaurant all day, you need the strongest hold you can get. That's why I switched adhesives. Oh, that's good. Now I can sip hot soup at lunch. And still make it to dinner to greet my favorite customers.
Even in the hottest liquids, when other adhesives stop holding, Fix-It-Dent holds stronger and longer.
It's a long, hard day, but I love every minute of it.
For the strongest, longest hold, Fix-It-Dent and forget it.
Once upon a time, there was 3 bears.
Right.
The daddy one, the mommy one, and the baby's one.
Uh-huh.
And then Goldilocks found some porridge.
Right.
The daddy one was too hot. The baby one was just right. And it, don't move your lips, Daddy.
Okay.
And then Goldilocks woke up and, uh-oh, the end.
Shake it, no dandruff. You've got Selsun Power. Brush it, no flakes. You've got Selsun Power with Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it #1 over all leading brands. Dandruff problem? No way. You've got Selsun Power.
When you have a cold, a smart way to get medicine is little by little throughout the day. But this is a little extreme for a cold. That's why there's Contact. Its tiny time pills work fast, then keep releasing medicine for 12 hours, like an IV. Contact. Relief that's fast, relief that lasts.
Tennessee has cooled off, now shooting 39%. They're 1 for the last 11 from the field. Dana Johnson at 13 points, most of those early, but what an inside presence Angela Gorsuch has been.
Well, great fast break by Tennessee, but Gorsuch from behind gets the block and then another block. She's been working with the track coach on her running ability, and you can just tell by the way she swings her arms. She is a much better runner than she has been in the past.
Officially 4 block shots credited to Gorsuch here in the first half. She's had at least that many.
One of the keys, Jim Foster and Cammie Etheridge, an assistant at Vanderbilt, said coming into this game, they have to score when they're running at us, when Tennessee is running at them. And they also have to push the ball and get their shots. Vanderbilt definitely has gotten their shots outside and inside.
Gorsuch tried to deny the pass inside and committed the foul, her first. Five fouls now against the Commodores with exactly 7 minutes remaining in the first half. Vanderbilt leads by 8, trying to deal Tennessee its first loss of the season.
Vanderbilt has really packed the middle in pretty good on the penetration. There's a great penetration right there by Lauren Milligan. They don't get the good shot.
And then Milligan knocked it out of bounds. Michelle Marciniak comes in from Milligan.
You know, Tennessee's not only shooting poorly right now, but they're not getting second and third opportunities at the basket. And when they do, you've got the big players, Gorsuch and Cunningham in the middle, which really is changing things for them.
Tennessee started this game hitting 8 of its first 12 shots from the floor. They've made 1 of their last 12 now.
Tough pass.
Handled by Sam. 10 on the shot clock. Palmisano can't get away from Marciniak. And the rebound by Latina Davis, the junior from Winchester, Tennessee. McCray ahead of the field. First points for Nikki McCray, the Player of the Year candidate senior. from Collierville, Tennessee. She graduated at the end of the fall semester with a degree in sports management and will start work toward her master's program.
Well, talked to Pat Summit before the game, and she said Latina Davis and McCray are so much alike. Davis probably a little smaller version of Nikki McCray, and she will get out on that break, and they like to run that fast break and look down court for the player breaking.
6-point lead for Vandy. Under 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Trouble with the ball. Out of bounds, hit by Hillman. Johnson thought she was fouled.
We talked about to Jim Foster yesterday, and he was telling us about Nashima Hillman and her defense. She's got that swinging arm mill type motion, and she does not get called for a lot of fouls, and she's playing a one-on-one right now against Dana Johnson. Everybody else is playing a zone.
Underneath. When they were hot early, that's where the ball was going, into Dana Johnson. They go back to her, and she has 15 points already here in the first half.
And Nikki McCray is their leading scorer, but Dana Johnson is also another player that has stepped up her game when she was injured, and she feels her emotion, and being a senior in that leadership, she needs to do that.
Answered at the other end by Nashima Hillman.
I love that shot. She just kind of throws it up with 2 hands.
8 points for Nashima.
Man-to-man defense for Vanderbilt. See how high Tennessee is? They've only got 1 player down on the baseline.
McCray missed the baseline jumper. Weak side rebound by Ginger Jarrett. They leave Blades alone. She'll take that. We're on to Blades. Nursing major here at Vanderbilt, and an outstanding student, a member of the SEC Academic Honor Roll. She's 3 out of 3 today from 3-point range. Largest lead for Vandy. Johnson bounced it off a foot, and it was the foot of Hillman. And John Morningstar wasn't sure about the call. He conferred, and that's good teamwork by the officials. They give the ball to Vandy.
Well, they have the 3 officials there. 5 of 7 for Vanderbilt, and 3-point shooting, 1 of 2. Tennessee, not a great 3-point shooting team. They will take it when they have it, but Vanderbilt's the team that likes to shoot it from outside.
Saw that Tiffany Johnson has returned to the lineup for UT.
The most they've taken this season was against Auburn. They were 9 of 24. Nice back door.
Mara Cunningham, short with it. Marciniak pushes for the Lady Vols. Shut off by Jarrett. Tiffany Johnson, short with it. Dana Johnson was fouled on the way up. The Johnsons, Tiffany, and Dana are not related. Dana's from Baltimore, and earlier this season, Tennessee played a game at Maryland in College Park, just outside Baltimore, and the entire team went over to the Johnson family home in Baltimore for dinner, and they tell us that Dana's mom is a terrific cook.
I think she ought to travel with them. With all the food they had and how they ate the day before, they won the game 95-29, only 8 points in the first half for Maryland. I said, boy, you better take your mom all the way around.
Imagine that, 8 points, 52-8 was the score. Tennessee led Maryland at the half at College Park. Vanna grew up just 2 blocks from the old Memorial Stadium and used to walk over to watch the Baltimore Orioles play as she was growing up. She made the second free throw. 3:46 remaining in the first half. Vanderbilt by 8.
You're the principal topic of my conversation. The apple of my eye. You're the principal source of my inspiration. The principal star in my sky.
For the principal people in your life, the Principal Financial Group. Insurance, pensions, managed health care, and more.
You're the principal reason I do what I do. The principal reason is you.
The Principal. For over a century, your edge on the future.
Gillette introduces the next revolution in shaving closeness.
microfins. And they're only on the new Sensor XL. These microfins precede the blades. As Sensor XL's spring-mounted blades adjust to your face, these soft, flexible fins gently stretch your skin, so your beard stands up for the closest, most comfortable shave. Get closer than ever before. Get the new Gillette Sensor XL.
When something fresh comes into your life at the exact moment you're ready for it, it's not coincidence. Aurora by Oldsmobile. See what happens when you demand better? Aurora.
It still bugs me that I waited to try Old Spice High Endurance just because I thought all deodorants worked the same. Dumb. This proves it's the best. Better than the leading stick. It evaporates less quickly.
Another big crowd to watch the Tennessee Volunteers. The last 3 games prior to this one have been on the road for the Lady Vols, and they played at Colorado, Montana, and Texas before a combined total of 28,000 fans, and another 13,000 here today.
And Pat Summitt felt her teams did not play that well on those 3 games.
After the miss by Cherie Sam, they hit the floor, and look out. Hostilities as Hillman and Davis
but you know
held the ball.
I think that's a plus for Vanderbilt, the way Nashima Hillman just kind of pulled the ball away. Vanderbilt hasn't had players like that as aggressive, and they need somebody to keep the crowd in it for them. You can see they go down on the ground. Good call by the officials when they call the jump ball, but you'll see Hillman right here. They let go, but it's just kind of, the play just keeps going, and, you know, emotions get caught up in a tie ball.
And off the inbound play, Mara Cunningham with her first points. She's had to battle back from a great deal of adversity, 2 knee operations, and this past August, a very serious car accident that did damage to her left eye. Tiffany Johnson. Crowd wanted to travel. 10-point lead now for Vandy with 3 minutes left in the half. Time ticking down on the shot clock. Davis, that's not the shot they want. Tennessee likes to get a shot off more quickly than they did. Sam kept it alive for Jarrett.
Well, the biggest thing is Tennessee is going to take the outside shots. They need to get some rebounds, and we talked about second and third shots. They're getting the ball inside, but their perimeter players have to be a little bit more offensive-minded and start creating something to open up the inside for their post players.
Tiffany Johnson to the bench, replaced by Vonda Ward, number 24. And a foul called on the inbounding play. And Davis called for the foul and was shaken up a bit.
Well, Latina Davis being very aggressive, but look, Rhonda Blades knows exactly where she's going and runs right into Davis to create the contact, and the defensive player out of position gets the foul.
First foul on Latina. Bonus situation now.
And that was a big hit by Latina Davis. She missed 2 weeks. We talked about her replacing Nikki McCray as far as that injury. She had an injury in practice. She ran into a screen and bruised her kidneys.
Vonda Ward with the block, but not that time. Cherie Sam puts it in. Six points, 6 rebounds for Cherie Sam, who came in as the leading scorer and rebounder for the Commodores. Their lead is up to 12, largest margin for Vandy. Ward, nice crisp pass, and easy 2 for Dana Johnson. She's up to 18 points in the first half.
Well, they continue to go to Dana Johnson. Leads the team in scoring, but they've got to spread things out. And there are players on this Lady Vols team that can score and contribute and help each other out. Great defense right there.
Johnson with the block. Dana Johnson's season high in the game this year is 24 points. That's her career high. Marciniak missed a 3-point try, and Vonda Ward crashed over the back of Mara Cunningham. Cunningham will go down the other end for a 1-and-1 as Ward is called for her first foul.
I tell you, I've really been impressed with the Commodores as far as their rebounding is concerned. Defensively, they have just kept the Lady Vols off the offensive boards. And it's not only their post players that are doing such a good job, their perimeter players are getting in there and getting some rebounds. And also doing a good job screening out so the perimeter players that do rebound, like a Nikki McCray, can't get in there and get a board.
I mentioned the car accident this summer, and you can see the damage done. Lacerations to the face, damage to her left eye. She has had blurred vision from time to time during the season.
Well, the first 2 years, she was an outside player and playing the high post when Heidi Gillingham was here, and now has been moved into the post position, starting inside in the middle there. But I tell you, her game, when she went down, when Vanderbilt went to the Final Four, she went down 7 games before the season was over with a knee injury, and I tell you, she was the one key player. Boy, I thought they could have won the national championship with her.
Coach Foster agreed with that when you posed that theory yesterday. The steal by Cherie Sam, she traveled. Had the right idea to kick it out. The Blades has been red hot from beyond the arc, but that's the 6th turnover against Vandy. And Gorsica will return for Vanderbilt with 1:11 left in the half, and Cunningham gets a nice hand as she departs. Rosalie was the last UT player to score 30 points in a game when she did that in February of '94 against Alabama. Way off the shot from Conklin. Taylor Johnson might threaten 30 points today the way she's going.
And then there again, the Commodores just getting a body on somebody and blocking them off the boards.
Sloppy play of late for Vanderbilt. Mad scramble and a held ball with 42.3 seconds remaining. And the ball goes back to Tennessee.
Well, Palmisano just really doesn't make a good pass right there. She's out of control and loose ball. She goes after it. You have to give her credit for staying after the basketball, but she knows she made the mistake.
See the time remaining in the half. Ball tipped out of bounds off the hands of Kelly Doherty, and Tennessee will keep it with 12 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
I tell you, Vanderbilt, a team that mostly plays that matchup zone and doesn't know what's going on. They have switched into this man-to-man, and Tennessee has really struggled against it.
Conklin. Now Ward with the shot clock ticking down. Got it to bounce in. Time for a last shot for Vanderbilt with an 8-point lead. Good pressure in the backcourt from Woosley. Blades, great pass, and Gorsica scores at the buzzer.
Study was presented at a national sports medicine conference. It shows that for the sore muscles occurring the day after a strenuous workout, Advil provides superior relief to extra-strength Tylenol. It's strong and fast. If you exercise regularly, you should know that more doctors recommend Advil than any other pain reliever for all types of muscle aches. For next-day soreness, Advil just works better than Tylenol. Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Who will conquest at the CarQuest Bowl? The Gamecocks of South Carolina take on the red-hot Mountaineers of West Virginia, Monday on CBS.
This is CBS.
Harry Lane Chrysler Plymouth is minivan country. That's where you'll find the best selection and lowest prices on America's best-selling minivan, Plymouth Voyager. Harry Lane has hundreds of Plymouth Voyagers on sale all the time, new and pre-titled. Stop into Minivan Country and save on the minivan that is #1 in customer satisfaction, Plymouth Voyager. Save now at Harry Lane Chrysler Plymouth, 240 North Peters Road, a Lane family dealership.
Hi, I'm Jim Galley with Bill Hotz & Associates. In America, more than 2 people are injured or killed by drunk drivers every minute. In the time it takes for this message, somebody will be hurt or killed by a drunk driver. There are laws to punish drunk drivers, and there are also laws to compensate their victims for the injuries caused by those who drink and drive. If you or a loved one have been injured by a drunk driver, call us at Bill Hotz & Associates at 637-9000. We'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve for your injuries. At Bill Hotz & Associates, we sue drunk drivers.
This program is brought to you by East Tennessee Natural Gas.
This is a CBS News special report. I'm Bill Agatuda in New York. The man wanted in the deadly shootings at 2 Massachusetts abortion clinics was arrested today in Norfolk, Virginia. The FBI confirms 22-year-old John Salvi, a student hairdresser from Hampton, New Hampshire, was arrested after allegedly opening fire this morning on a building housing a Virginia abortion clinic. No one was injured there. Salvi is suspected of killing 2 women. He's charged now with killing 2 women and wounding 5 other people in yesterday's shootings in Brookline, Massachusetts. Police there linked Salvi to a handgun, ammunition, and a receipt found in a duffel bag dropped by the gunman at one of the clinics in Brookline. We'll have full details later on the CBS Evening News. I'm Bill Agatuda in New York.
This has been a CBS News special report. CBS Sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Coors Light. Naturally brewed, reach for the silver bullet, the pure taste of the Rockies. Advil, advanced medicine for pain. And by Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth.
Welcome back to the Vanderbilt University campus in Nashville. At halftime, the home-standing Commodores have a 10-point lead over Tennessee. Sean McDonough along with Ann Myers, and I'm very surprised to see that 41 on the board for Vanderbilt. Tennessee ordinarily an outstanding defensive team.
That's right. I think coming out in the second half, look for them to pick up their defense and their rebounding. On the other hand, Vanderbilt has to continue to be aggressive offensively and play hard.
Let's take a look now at halftime statistics. 50% from the floor for Vanderbilt, including 5 out of 7 from 3-point range.
And the 2 big keys, the 3-point shooting, 5 of 7 for Vanderbilt. And also, Vanderbilt has out-rebounded Tennessee 21-16 in that first half.
And we saw the presence of Gorsica with the block shots. Vandy credited with 5 in the first half. And it's Commodores' ball to begin the second half. Sam lost it on the dribble. Marciniak kept it alive. McCray. Crowd thought she traveled. The officials did not concur, and Tennessee has the first points out of the locker room. 4 points for Nikki McCray. You can see her explosiveness as she went running down the lane. Sam, no basket. She did travel. Shuffled her feet.
The biggest thing for Vanderbilt is to calm down, get some poise. Don't let this rattle them. They had a 12-point lead against Penn State earlier in the season, and that was one of their losses. They ended up getting beat 86-65.
And Coach Foster said that game taught his young team they need to play hard from start to finish. Woosley shut off. Ward got a hand on the offensive rebound. If they say it went out of bounds off Vanderbilt.
Tennessee getting a second shot at the basket. There you see Jim Foster. And again, being on that baseline, you can't help your team out when they're on the other side of the floor.
Marciniak.
Oh, get away with a little travel there.
They played just more than a minute in the second half. Vanderbilt leads by 8. The largest lead in the first half was 12. The follow away from McCray, spins out. Ward the follow. On to Ward, just as Gorsica came off the bench at 6'7" in the first half to give Vanderbilt a lift. Ward at 6'6" has done the same for UT.
Really is going to be a key in the second half as far as that rebounding is concerned. There's the defense, another steal by Tennessee. Intensity a lot higher in the second half for the Lady Vols.
McCray now. Very sloppy start to the second half for Vandy. 3 trips and 3 turnovers for the Commodores, and Jim Foster could use a timeout. McCray with a baseline jumper.
I'm sorry, Sean. They'll also see if Vanderbilt will stay in that man-to-man defense.
6 unanswered points, 3 turnovers on 3 trips. No timeout from Coach Foster. His team still has not scored here in the second half.
There you see Marciniak swarming in there. A little bump right there. She's going to get called for the foul, but much more aggressive in this second half by the Lady Vols. Marciniak has really picked things up.
Two fouls on Marciniak. That's the first foul on either team here in the second half.
Ginger Jarrett out of the game. She's a great three-point shooter, but Michelle Parmesano, a little bit better ball handler, and defensively can move laterally.
Marciniak, the first player in the game to collect a second foul. Gorsica on Ward, and Gorsica was fouled by Vonda Ward. Near the conclusion of today's game, we will select a genuine Chevrolet player of the game from each team. Chevrolet donates a $1,000 scholarship to the General Scholarship Fund of each school.
Last year, Angela Gorsica won the Spirit Award and also was voted the most improved player.
Former Virginia High School Player of the Year out of Waynesboro. The all-time leading scorer and rebounder at Wilson Memorial High School in Virginia. Got the bounce on the first free throw. We mentioned her grandfather, John Gorsica Jr., pitched for the Detroit Tigers in the 1940 World Series. Michelle Parmesano's grandfather played in the 1931 World Series for Philadelphia. Angela Gorsica says her grandfather is perhaps her biggest fan.
Even if she doesn't like baseball.
Johnson fouled. And Tennessee continues to have momentum on its side here in the opening moments of the second half.
Well, great recovery as far as Dana Johnson. Nice bounce pass into the post. She worked so hard to get the ball and get open. Look at that move right there. Hillman trying to get the steal, and a freshman mistake coming from behind and really making a silly foul. She takes the chance to try and steal it, but you don't come back and foul, especially on a little layup like that.
2 fouls on Hillman, who goes to the bench. Replaced by Kelly Doherty.
Dana Johnson, the only player to score in double figures in the first half. Vanderbilt had everybody score in the first half.
21 now for Johnson, 3 shy of her career high. Vanderbilt does not have a field goal here in the second half. We've played 2.5 minutes. What was a 10-point halftime lead is down to 3. Another careless play. And Blades got away with it as Ward deflected it out of bounds. They're still maintaining that this team looks like it could use a timeout.
Well, you know, Memorial Gym, you think it's a home court advantage for Vanderbilt, but I tell you, the Lady Vols, there's plenty of orange around here, and they're upstanding. That's where the noise is coming from.
Vanderbilt's been so sloppy they haven't even attempted a field goal in this half. Now they have, and Parmesano scores. Previous try at the basket was a foul call, did not go into the books as a field goal attempt. 5-point lead for Vandy. Johnson.
Well, the thing is, too, defensively, Dana Johnson is getting the ball where she wants it, right on the block, and Vanderbilt has to do a better job pushing her out.
Blade shut off by McCray. McCray, the best defender Pat Summitt has ever coached, in the words of the coach.
And I thought Blades had a great first half as far as controlling the tempo of the game, running her team, getting the ball to the players that needed it, and now Nikki McCray is on her, and she's going to come out, and Ginger Jarrett's going to come in for her. But I tell you, Nikki McCray, when she plays defense, you're in really better think about it and play hard.
Inbound to Parmesano, guarded tightly by Marciniak. Gorsica, guarded by Ward. It bounces out. Hillman.
That's what the Commodores need, is to continue to stay on the offensive boards. That's a big rebound for Nashima Hillman.
10 points for Hillman. Marciniak was shut off, and Johnson bobbled the pass, and Marciniak missed. Rebounded by Cherie Sam. Vanderbilt stabilizing the last couple of possessions after some tough moments out of the locker room. Hillman short with it. Hillman got it back off the floor and missed again. Gorsica appeared to have a hand on the rebound, but it was Sam crashing into the pile. And the foul is on Cherie Sam.
And Angela Gorsica had that ball all the way, but Good aggressive play by Cherie Sam. Just have to control yourself a little bit better.
So the ball goes back for the Lady Vols, who trailed by 5. Nearly 4 minutes gone by in the second half.
Dana Johnson out of the game. 23 points already in this game. Her career high is 24.
Vandy's last win over Tennessee in the 90-91 season when Phil Lee was the head coach. Jim Foster's never had a win over Pat Summitt and the Vols.
And Tennessee went ahead and won the national championship that year.
Tiffany Woosley shut off by Sam, and the pass deflected out of bounds. 5-point lead for Vanderbilt. It was 10 at halftime.
This is Bruce Smith's shoe, man. Wait a minute. This is Rod Woodson's shoe. I have visions of Rod Woodson. I see him lurking like a shadow. I sense he's somewhere lurking. I hear his heartbeat. Ba-boom. 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 Rod?
The Geo Prism has a beautiful interior and comes with standard dual airbags, crush zones, reinforced door pillars, and a rugged steel safety cage, which helps explain why the interior still looks this beautiful, even when it's in this car. Call 1-800-GET-TO-KNOW and get to know the new Geo Prism.
Hey, America, something's missing from your sandwich, the great taste of cheese. It makes your so-so sandwich sensational. This turkey sandwich is as plain as it can be, but add some zesty cheese, it's such a hit, they'll vote it MVP.
Love it with cheese.
Your roast beef sandwich scores a 0, but add some tangy cheese, you've got a great American hero.
Now this is a winner.
Give your sandwich a new attitude with cheese.
This week, Dave rocks in the new year with Phil Hartman, Connie Chung, The Tractors, Sinbad, Tim Robbins, The Band, Super Dave, and Gary Oldman this week.
Earlier, Ann Myers noted that Dana Johnson and Latina Davis really picked up their games when Nikki McCrae was out 6 games with an injured hand. Well, even though McCrae's back, Johnson continues to soar. 23 points. 1 shy of her career high. 5 rebounds already, but Davis has not been a factor today. 2 points and 2 rebounds.
Well, Dana Johnson, Pat Summitt feels that she just leads by example, and she uses the strength on the boards, aggressive, just such a great presence in the post for the Lady Vols.
They go inside, and Tiffany Johnson had it rattle out. Rebounded by fellow freshman Nashima Hillman. Vanderbilt by 5. We played 4.5 minutes. Hillman has 5 rebounds now.
In the first half, the Commodores really control the tempo of that game. And in the second half, right now, Tennessee, with their pressure defense, has really picked things up and kind of pressuring Vanderbilt and forcing them to do things they don't want to. But that's out of a forced shot. That's the one the coach said, no. Oh, yeah, great shot.
Cherie Sam had defenders right in front of her, but scored. She has 8. Coach Boston, when he asked about Sam yesterday, said she's a talent, and we've seen a lot of that talent already. Marciniak shut off on the drive by Palmisano. And they throw it away. Davis tried to feed the post. Passion Thompson couldn't handle it.
Well, this team this year by the Lady Vols is the most turnovers a team has had for Pat. They averaged 19 turnovers and had 26 turnovers in that game against Texas, and that really concerns Pat Summitt.
Cherie Sam. And the lead is back to 9. And the crowd is trying to get back into it. Long three, and it's good for Tiffany Woosley, who had been struggling with her shooting coming into today's game, shooting just 30% from the floor for the year, and actually better from three-point range, 36%, but she shot 46 from three last year. Ginger Jarrett.
What a great screen by Gorsica up top.
Gave her the handoff and screen for at the same time. Then she missed the hook from in close. Right down the lane. Woosley missed a short one. I guess Woosley just needs to stop at the three-point line every time. She sent in the long three moments ago and missed the one in close all along.
Watch his screen up top to Gorsica. Nice little handoff, and boom. Woosley really gets picked off, and really Jared needs to pull up and take the jumper right there. She doesn't penetrate and she doesn't get a shot off, but I mean, she did penetrate and didn't get a shot off. She's got to stop if you get your defense picked off like that. Jared's going to come out of the game right now, but I give credit to Tennessee also coming back down the floor and really pushing the ball aggressively.
Tennessee trails by 6. Their largest lead in the first half was 3 points at 18-50. Marciniak had a block by Hillman. Wound up with Thompson. Her bounce pass knocked away by Sand.
Hey, and Vanderbilt's got those hands all over the place.
Into the lane, McCray was fouled. Men's college basketball action for you tomorrow afternoon on CBS Sports, 4 Eastern time. Number 5 Kentucky at 6-1 at Louisville to take on the 5-3 Cardinals in the Battle of the Bluegrass State. Kentucky has won the last 4 meetings. Kentucky and Louisville tomorrow, 4 Eastern time, here on CBS. Angela Gorsica whistled for the last foul, her second.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to talk about the men's team with the women's teams. Men's North Carolina is ranked number 1. Women are ranked number 4. Men's Kentucky is ranked number 6. Women Kentucky is ranked number 2. And we're going to do the Kansas-Kentucky game. In Kansas, women are ranked 15. Kansas men number 8. Florida for the men number 12. Florida for the women number 17.
Still a 6-point lead for Vanderbilt. Second by McCray is good. She has 7. Came in as the leading scorer for the Lady Vols, averaging nearly 17 per game. Both teams 6 of 11 from the line. Retick down toward 13 minutes remaining. Sean McDonough with Ann Myers and Michelle Tafoya at the Memorial Gymnasium in Nashville. Doherty had it spin out, rebounded by Tiffany Johnson. Then she was double teamed, turned it over, and Gorsica was fouled from behind by Passion Thompson. Second foul on Thompson.
Well, it's a good triple team by Vanderbilt when the ball comes down. Tiffany Johnson does a nice job getting control. She loses her balance, just throws it up to the 6'7" Gorsica, and they call the foul from behind on Passion Thompson.
Gorsica lost it. Thompson took it away. He's from Philadelphia and Mississippi. Her cousin Fred McAfee has played in the NFL with New Orleans and Phoenix. And a whistle.
They're going to call an offensive foul, I believe, on Tiffany Johnson. She was trying to go low and get position. We'll see it on the open court. Here she's running down. Just kind of throwing the elbow up, and incidental contact, fighting for position. She's got a lot of poise for a freshman. Pat Summitt's really pleased with her.
Second foul on Tiffany Johnson. Earlier they called Tiffany Baby T. That's because the first time they noticed her was when she was in the 9th grade in an AAU tournament. Palmisano way off from three-point range, and Baby T rebounded it.
And was 6'4" then.
She was 6'4" in 9th grade and didn't grow another inch. But they continued to track her progress. And she had an outstanding high school career in Charlotte, North Carolina.
And where's that number 4? Because of her idol, Chris Webber.
McCray blocked by Gorsica.
The one thing I like about the Lady Vols, you know, you've got to go in against a defense, even that has a player like Gorsica and Cummings, that they're going to block a lot of shots. Try and draw fouls, which Tennessee had over 200 more free throws than their opponents last year going to the free throw line.
Another block by Gorsica. That's number 6.
And her career high is 7.
And the crowd roars. Doherty fouled by Passion Thompson.
Well, Kelly Doherty just never had control. She looks like she almost travels, tries to regain her balance, and the defense gets back and they call the foul. But I tell you, Angela Gorsic has been a force in the middle for the Vanderbilt Commodores. Now pull that hair back.
That's a problem I cannot relate to that Angela's having right now.
You and me both.
Kelly Doherty is at the line. Her brother, Neil, former men's assistant basketball coach here at Vanderbilt, and Eddie Folger, and with Coach Folger to South Carolina. Passion Thompson has 3 fouls now. Tennessee's committed 5 in the second half. Timeout on the floor. The Vanderbilt lead is 7.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the world's one and only remote control sliding door. Available only on the Chevy Lumina minivan. It looks different because it is different.
Mike Klein's been my State Farm agent for 9 years, and he's been a coach in the community for 3. He's as dedicated to those kids as he is to his policyholders. The most important thing that I can do right now in my life is to protect my family in the future. The way he handles my life insurance shows it's important to him too. My other friends who have State Farm life insurance say the same thing about their agents. You know, I think there is something to this good neighbor business.
State Farm is there. When I got dentures, I decided they weren't going to stop me. And they haven't. I can get as close as I want in the morning and still feel as confident as I need to at lunch.
Even in the hottest liquids, when other adhesives stop holding, Fix-It-N holds stronger and longer.
Sure, I have dentures, but from morning to night, I don't have to give up a thing. Not a thing.
For the strongest, longest hold, Fix-It-N and forget it.
Do you know how much Pringles you got? More from this can than you thought. Fill a bowl from a Pringles can. Got as much as this bag. Amazing, man. Can you believe how much Pringles you got? So pop, the Pringles don't stop. Get the great taste you want, not the greasy mess this bag's got. Pringles, once you pop, so much more than you ever thought. You can't stop.
Well, the good news for Pat Summitt, her team has cut down on turnovers and is shooting well. And Dana Johnson has 23 points. You looked at those numbers, you'd think Tennessee would have the lead, but they're down by 7 at 53-46. Thanks in large part to the play of Angela Gorsica, who is not a starter, but she has come off the bench to score 7 points, block 6 shots, gather in 3 rebounds, and she's altered a lot of other shots, Ann, with her presence on defense.
Yes, she has, and that's been a big difference when you go up against a player. They might not block a shot all the time, but as you said, they change a shot in the middle. I think also with the 3-point shooting of Vanderbilt has made a big difference, and also the rebounding.
Michelle Marciniak brings Tennessee into the front court. Tiffany Johnson for 3. The follow and miss by Dana Johnson. Now it's Tiffany Johnson fouled.
Great hustle by
go the line for 2.
Great hustle by Tennessee to get 2-3 shots at the basket, and that's what they need to keep themselves in this game.
That foul was on Gorsica, her 3rd. Gorsica goes out along with Doherty. Hillman and Cunningham return for Vandy with 11:41 remaining. 14 fouls in the half now against Vanderbilt. Ann mentioned she wears number 4. Her idol is Chris Webber. Earlier this season, when they were in Maryland, couple of members of the Tennessee traveling party saw Chris Webber in the hotel lobby as he had joined the Bullets. And they mentioned that Tiffany was a huge Chris Webber fan, got him to sign a media guide, and told the folks, well, give her my room number, tell her to call me if she wants to chat. Out of bounds off Marciniak. Of course, Tiffany thought they were kidding. No way Chris Webber would happen to be in the same hotel. And when she realized they were serious, her first reaction was, I have nothing to wear to meet Chris Webber. But she did meet him and said he was very gracious and enjoyed the conversation.
Well, there's a hustle by Marciniak trying to get the ball, and Tennessee, their intensity just very, very high on the defensive end. And to continue that story with Chris Webber, when he went down with the separated shoulder, she was all happy because it was like, hey, I did mine when I was coming out of high school. I played softball and dislocated the same one.
She dislocated her shoulder crashing into a catcher during a softball game. Woosley down the lane, missed a shot. Sam couldn't save it along the end line.
That's a good shot by Tiffany Woosley. She's wide open. She needs to take that 12 to 15 footer. And again, the perimeter players need to be a little bit more offensive minded for the Lady Vols.
Marciniak had Sam flying out on her. Then Cunningham got a hand on the ball, but apparently got Marciniak with the body.
Well, there's that foul from behind, and you know, it's just a tough call as far as a player is concerned, because a lot of times they are clean blocks, but officials feel that when they swipe that they come across the head of.
2 fouls on Mara Cunningham. Marciniak will shoot 2. Michelle had a tremendous high school career at Allentown Central Catholic in Pennsylvania, scored 3,025 points and was featured while in high school in Sports Illustrated in 1991, featured in the swimsuit issue, an article about basketball, obviously, entitled The Ponytailed Princess of Hoop.
And playing for Tennessee, she's not scoring as many points.
And off the steal on the inbound, Woosley was fouled. It's a 3-point game, and Pat Summitt can get even closer.
This is where Jim Foster feels his team has to be aggressive on offense. Little soft bounce pass across right underneath the basket. Mara Cunningham coming across to block the shot, gets called for the foul.
3 fouls on Cunningham. Timeout called by Vandy.
Being ranked best model in its price class in initial quality by J.D. Power and Associates puts the Geo Prism on something of a pedestal. But being priced starting at $12,050 puts Prism very much within reach. Get to know the car ranked best in its class in initial quality. Geo Prism at your Chevrolet Geo dealer.
He had lost everything, but fate gave him a chance to be a father to an abandoned boy.
I'm just the only boy I ever had.
Lou Gossett Jr., a father for Charlie, New Year's Sunday.
This is CBS.
Hey, nice TV. Get it for Christmas? Oh, and a new VCR and a CD player? Wow. Just one question. Where do you put all these new toys? Good news. Right now, this Oak Entertainment Center by Aspen is on sale at a special after Christmas price. Or how about this Oak Wall unit at this super low price? Or this gorgeous Entertainment Center by Aspen at huge holiday savings. And the best news, our entire line of Aspen Entertainment Centers are on sale now. But hurry, this factory-sponsored after Christmas sale won't last forever.
Tennesseans love a parade.
And in one parade of homes after another, Tennesseans love the natural gas home heat and appliances home builders now install.
In many cities, 9 out of 10 parade homes are gas homes. Why?
Natural gas means lower utility bills and warm air comfort, not the cool air and high bills of the electric heat pump.
Join the parade to natural gas heat, water heat, other modern appliances.
Natural gas.
Baywatch, a worldwide hit, tonight at 6 on WKXT.
CBS sports coverage of the road to the Final Four is sponsored by Geo, available only at your Chevrolet Geo dealers. Pennzoil, the motor oil that works like liquid ball bearings. And by John Hancock, official worldwide sponsor of the 1996 Olympic Games.
Terrific game for this huge crowd here at Memorial Gymnasium. 13,227 on hand to watch Vandy and UT in what has become one of the great rivalries in women's collegiate basketball. Tennessee has cut the lead down to 3. And Tiffany Woosley is at the line. Makes it a 2-point game. She has 7. She was second-team All-SEC last year and the MVP of the SEC tournament. And it's a 1-point game. 8 points for Woosley. This is the closest Tennessee has been since 9-12 remained in the first half, and it was 24-22 Vandy.
This is what Jim Foster talked about his team when it gets in this kind of situation with Penn State, Texas Tech. Keep the offense very aggressive, attacking. Michelle Palmisano loses it off the trap by Tennessee. Tennessee has just really picked things up defensively. Vanderbilt, their perimeter players need to get rid of the ball before the trap comes. See the trap right there? Palmisano puts her head down and should have handed it right back to the post player.
Tennessee gave up 41 points in the first half, only 12 in the first 9 minutes plus here in the second half.
Oh, great nice pass.
Johnson had it blocked by Hillman after the great feed by Marciniak.
And Dana Johnson walked all over the place. Hillman just with those long arms grabbing it.
Still a 1-point lead for Vandy, nearly midway through the second half.
Important possession for Vanderbilt. They've got a score on it, and they're just really struggling.
Here in the second half, Vanderbilt has had 4 field goals and 7 turnovers. And the foul call. And it's against Cherie Sam. 1-and-1 opportunity coming up for Tennessee.
Jim Foster talked about this team being a young team, and there you see Marciniak is all over Palmisano, but Palmisano doesn't get the call and kind of knocks the ball out of the hands of Jared, and Sam is coming up with the foul. So Vanderbilt needs to settle down. They need to see where the defense is, try and create fouls, and slow things down again.
1-and-1, the foul on Sam, her third. Nikki McCray, the shooter, ties the game with the first.
Well, we talked about her being the SEC Player of the Year last year and first team All-SEC, All-Tournament. She was a Kodak All-American, voted the best defensive player on the team, Coach's Award.
First lead for UT since it was 17-16 with 12:38 left in the first half. They lead by 1 midway through the second half here in Nashville. Jarrett pressured by the extended defense of Woosley. Another sloppy play. Blades threw it away. She thought the pass was tipped. It was not. Palmisano back in for Jarrett.
We talked about the depth, only 9 players for Vanderbilt. Jennifer Cox went out. Is she going to be lost for the year? We don't know. She's got a stress fracture. She redshirted last year because of a stress fracture. Also, Nettie Respondek, a freshman that Jim Foster's very high on, is going to redshirt.
He says Respondek has a chance to be the best guard he's ever coached. McCray short with it, rebounded by Hillman. She went up and after it and was fouled on the floor by Dana Johnson, her second. And Tennessee is not yet over the limit here in the second half. That's the 6th team foul. Pat Summitt has seen her team outscore Vanderbilt by 8 over the last 5.5 minutes to take a 1-point lead. She's in her 21st year. Now you're looking at her and saying, how could a woman that young be in her 21st
should know. I
year?
played with her.
She's just 42 years old. Became the head coach when she was 22.
Won an Olympic medal as a player in 1976, our first Olympic team, and also coached the gold medal in 1984.
Palmisano, they need it and do not get it. It spins out, and Johnson knocked Hillman to the floor, and she's been called for her third, and that puts Tennessee over the limit.
Well, Vanderbilt really needs to start opening up their perimeter players to get those shots. That ball did not fall that time for Michelle Palmisano, but Nashima Hillman going to the boards.
I think you hit the nail right on the head, and the difference in this game here in the second half seems to be the increase in intensity of Tennessee on defense.
Well, and Vanderbilt has to come back down and be poised. I mean, I think Blades has to come in this second half with 9:18 left to go in this second half and really calm her team down. They need to pass the ball better. They're holding on to it, dribbling it a little bit too much. And when that defense comes on you, you've got to get rid of it before they get there.
Hillman tied the game with the first. And puts Vandy back up by 1 with the second. Tiffany Johnson was fouled by Hillman. Her third. We hope you'll be with CBS Sports Monday for the CarQuest Bowl from Miami, South Carolina, at 6-5 against West Virginia, 7-5. First bowl game since '88 for the Gamecocks, while West Virginia turned around their season after a dismal 1-4 start. They come into the bowl having won 6 of the last 7. That's Monday, 1:30 Eastern time here on CBS.
I tell you, that's a big-time move by Tiffany Johnson. You talk about her pattern in her game against, like, Chris Webber, and she just makes a big, big pump fake right there to get Hillman in the air and goes to the free throw line where she gets a lot of points. All 77 of her high school games she scored in double figures.
And her 2 free throws put UT back up by 1 with 9:04 remaining. There's the trap immediately, and they tie up Palmisano. Right on cue. That's just what you were saying. They have not done a good job moving the ball against the trap, and it doesn't help when you inbound it right into the corner.
That's exactly right. And, you know, the youth, as far as boom, you got to give it right back and at least put it on the ground and try and get out of there. But you can't put your head down. You've got to see where the defense is. And I tell you, Michelle Marciniak, I think, has really made a difference in the second half, too. She's picked things up on that point player.
Now they try the long pass to break the press. Sam in transition, didn't get the bounce. Hillman had a hand on it. And a foul called. I believe it's on Tiffany Johnson, who can't believe she was whistled. And it is on Tiffany.
I think that's a good play by Vanderbilt because they get trapped in that front court. They've got to get it out of the back court. They've got to get it out of there, and they throw the long baseball pass. It's a good shot by Cherie Sam. She's got the rebounder, Nashima Hillman, right there.
Foul on Tiffany Johnson was her third. Nashima missed the front end of a 1-on-1. Sam kept it alive, then was bumped and came from out of bounds to play it. And
but
the
if
officials
you can come back in bounds and then pick up the ball, and that's exactly what Cherie Sam did. She came in bounds, stepped on the court, and then picked the ball up, and that is a good play. And the fans don't like it. Something's being thrown on, or somebody dropped some gum or something. As long as you come back in the court, and then you are a member of the court, you can get the ball back. But if she had picked up the ball as she was coming back in.
Well, she clearly came back in bounds and then picked up the ball. She was bumped out in the first place, and there wasn't a call. So on both counts, Coach Foster was upset. Tennessee by 1, and with the ball, 8:35 remaining. Johnson, strong drive to the bucket, and gets the bounce off the rim.
A career high 25 points. Here's that baseline by Dana Johnson. A good quick move at 6'2". She just blows right by you. Vanderbilt has to help out weak side.
3-point lead now for UT. They trailed by 10 at the half. A hand check against Dana Johnson, and that's her fourth.
That's where Vanderbilt now has to be smart and keep going at Dana Johnson. She'll probably come out of the game right now, but try and pick up that 5th foul when she's back in there.
Passion Thompson back in.
Now we'll see how the Tennessee players, as far as who's going to pick up the offensive bulk right now, because Dana Johnson with 25 points and 4 fouls has to sit the bench with 8:14.
Palmisano at the line. Officials stopped the play. The weren't lined up properly along the lane.
I did a camp with her a couple years ago when she was a senior. Michelle Palmisano and Marion Jones, who was a freshman last year at North Carolina, fabulous athlete. They played one-on-one, and I was never more at the camp. Everything was Marion Jones because of her athletic ability, and she's a tremendous talent. But I tell you, they played one-on-one in a contest, and Michelle Palmisano picked her game up, and it was everybody in the camp was really kind of surprised. But Michelle Palmisano has that toughness to win, and I think that's what's going to add to this Vanderbilt team.
He has 9 points, and it's back to a 1-point game. The Lady Vols with the ball and a 1-point lead. Conklin, guarded by Palmisano. Marciniak thought about a 3, went right down the lane and didn't get the bounce.
That's where somebody's got to take a charge coming down that lane.
Sam pushed out of bounds. Marciniak called for the foul. She thought the call was going to be Sam on the end line and was celebrating. Then she turned around and realized the foul was on her.
Well, Pat Summitt thinks that Michelle Marciniak has really influenced this team as far as what they do now, playing the point position this year. And there's a little bump in the hips right there.
Cherie Sam missed basketball in the state of Louisiana in 1992. Makes the front end to tie the game.
You know, she has just really slowly improved herself. Last year she had to step in, and 4 games in a row she ended up having career highs, 15, 18, 20, 24, and you know, that's a sign of a real tough player and a consistent player.
So it looks like it's heading right down to the final buzzer. Nip and tuck, and now tied at 58 with 7:40 remaining. Rory Milligan, the freshman from Oregon. Conklin with a size advantage on Palmisano was shut off. Milligan tried to whip it inside, looking for Thompson, and she was fouled on the cut.
Hillman trying to work around Passion Thompson.
That's 4 fouls on Nashima Hillman. So Dana Johnson is on the bench for Tennessee with 4, and Hillman is in all likelihood going to come out with her 4, as she will. Cunningham returns.
And that really hurts Vanderbilt as far as the defense is concerned, and also the rebounding.
Coach Foster says Nashima is like Dennis Rodman in that she can guard any player on the floor from the opposing team center to the point guard. Run into the 1-on-1 miss by Thompson, rebounded by Sam. Thompson's 0 for 3 from the line. Tie game, 7:20 left. Palmisano drove the baseline, then lost it, but Sam collected. Cunningham foul. And the foul starting to add up on both sides, and if that's on Tiffany Johnson, it's her 4th.
Good entry pass inside. Palmisano wanted to take that outside shot. Defense recovered very nicely for the Lady Vols and got the ball inside to Mara Cunningham. Cunningham with a little jump hook, taking it to her left hand, creating the contact.
It was on Tiffany Johnson, so she leaves with her 4 fouls, replaced by Vonda Ward. Cunningham will shoot 2. We're still tied.
Cunningham only a 64% free throw shooter. Her sophomore year, she improved to 80%.
Got the second. Vandy by 1. Woosley and Marciniak, the starting backcourt, getting ready to check back in for the Lady Vols. Milligan, the miss. Sam, the rebound. Into Cunningham. Too strong with the fall away. McCray pushes for Tennessee. And Blades called for a block.
That's where Nikki McCray is so good. She can get the ball off the board because she is a good rebounder and then take it down herself with her ball handling.
Back in for Tennessee, number 3, Michelle Marciniak, and number 10, Tiffany Woosley.
You know, Nikki McCray, this SEC conference is so tough. Alabama, Ole Miss, Auburn, Georgia, LSU, Florida. You just keep going down the line, and they say it's the toughest in the conference, and that's why both these teams, Pat Summitt and Jim Foster, play such a grueling preseason to prepare their teams for the SEC.
Gray made the first to tie the game. Foul on Blades was her first. Woosley and Marciniak are back in, and Davis is waiting to check in for McCray. And she will check in as Nikki made the second. Well, the team goal this year is the national championship. On the cover of the Tennessee Media Guide, it says very simply, one team, one goal. And Pat Summitt says that's a realistic goal with the talent this Tennessee team has. This class of seniors, should they fail to make the Final Four, would be the first senior class in Tennessee to never make it to the Final Four. Davis, the steal, then she went toppling over Sam, but it was picked up by Woosley. Tennessee by 1 with the ball, 6:17 remaining.
Well, if you look at the cover of the Media Guide, too, she did not want any faces, anybody really to stand out. We're going to make this a team, and they just show everybody's arm holding the rim. Nice pass inside.
Vonda Ward missed the turnaround, rebounded by Cunningham. Sam, fouled by Latina Davis. Her second. And this is turning into a free throw shooting contest.
Well, Latina Davis, pretty fast player getting back on defense, but she got away on the last possession, knocking down that ball, and they call it for a foul that time.
Tie game at 60. Sam made the first of 2. And the second. Vandy by 1. Less than 6 minutes remaining.
Well, it's really a chess game now, too, with the fouls. And there's a pass. Woosley seeing Davis on the outside, and Davis started to go back door as she was coming towards it. Just miscommunication.
These two teams have combined for 21 fouls here in the second half, and there's still 5.5 minutes remaining.
Well, there was a switch off right there. Vanderbilt didn't see it and didn't take advantage of it.
Blades, strong drive, then missed the layup. Marciniak. Marciniak has it back and settles the offense. Her father, Whitey, played football in Maryland. Her mother was a cheerleader at the University of Maryland.
I really see the other 3 seniors for the Lady Vols coming back in. Johnson, McCray.
Davis, off-balance shot, got her own rebound and scored. Tennessee by 1, 4:45 remaining. Vanderbilt without a field goal in more than 9 minutes. And still only trailing by 1. Sam, they still don't have a field goal. Davis rips it away from Cunningham.
Well, the thing is, when you try to steal the ball in the backcourt like that, Tennessee's going to push it up.
Marciniak, no basket. Offensive foul called.
Well, give credit to M&M attacking the defense of Vanderbilt.
Called on Vonda Ward for a moving screen.
She tries to help out, and Kelly Doherty gets nailed out of the way. Looks like it's a good play for Tennessee, but nullified.
Vanderbilt has missed its last 13 shots from the floor, and still the Commodores trail by only 1.
Dana Johnson and Tiffany Johnson back into the game for Tennessee.
Each with 4 fouls. Woosley, Davis, and Marciniak, the rest of the 5 on the floor for Coach Summitt. Doherty missed the front end of a 1-and-1. So it's still Tennessee by 1, 4:15 remaining. Latina Davis strong down the baseline, then missed the shot. Tiffany Johnson had the offensive rebound. And they'll settle the offense with 4 minutes remaining.
See if they can cut baseline off if they go it.
Woosley missed a three-point try, and Doherty was fouled after collecting the rebound.
Well, Latina Davis with that little reach in, trying to knock the ball away, help her team out.
Her third. And Nikki McCrae comes back in for the Lady Vols to replace Latina Davis.
And we talked about Vanderbilt last year was 70% from the free throw line and shot over 200 more free throws than their opponents. But they have struggled from the line this year, 66% as a team. But Jim Foster has felt that, though, in the close games, they've come through.
Doherty comes through to tie it with 3:51 remaining. For the lead, Vandy by 1. 3:51 remaining. Back to Nashville after this.
My father grew up in the Depression. I grew up in the 60s. He fought a war and I didn't. All we ever saw in each other were the differences. I think we fought because we believed there'd always be time to take things back, make things right. I think now's the time for me to do that.
You got the winning color.
I've got 295,000 miles on my cart. I've always taken awful good care of it, changed all the oil myself, and used Pennzoil.
Now with the revolutionary Penn-Star molecule, Pennzoil clings to moving parts, works like liquid ball bearings.
Engine runs good, it's never been opened up. I've had to change out the upholstery, and I'll probably have to change it out again before I ever have to do any work on the motor.
Engine problems? Before you try a tune-up, try Gum Out first. The solution could be less than $5.
The sun upon my skin like a
For those whose idea of luxury is any place they can take a load off, Chevy introduces our all-new interior with the comfort of available leather, the security of an airbag, and the pleasure of power-adjustable lumbar seats. You could say these guys are sitting pretty. We just wouldn't advise it.
Shake it, no dandruff. You've got Selsun Power. Brush it, no flakes. You've got Selsun Power with Selsun Blue. Doctors recommend it #1 over all leading brands. Dandruff problem? No way. You've got Selsun Power.
When you have a cold, a smart way to get medicine is little by little throughout the day. But this is a little extreme for a cold. That's why there's Contact. Its tiny time pills work fast, then keep releasing medicine for 12 hours, like an IV. Contact. Relief that's fast, relief that lasts.
I'm Bill Agatuda. The alleged killer of 2 people in those Massachusetts abortion clinics has been arrested after another shooting in Norfolk, Virginia. On tonight's CBS Evening News.
Tonight on CBS begins with Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, then the 5 Mrs. Buchanans, Hearts of Fire, and Walker, Texas Ranger. That's all tonight on CBS. Vanderbilt leads by 1 with 3:51 remaining. Trying to break a 6-game losing streak in this rivalry. Fouls a big story here in the second half. 14 fouls committed by Tennessee since halftime and 10 by Vanderbilt. The arrow points to the Lady Vols, who inbound the ball 94 feet from the basket. Marciniak gave it to Johnson, who's playing with 4 fouls. They tried to go inside, and Hillman picked it off. Hillman's playing with 4. The Johnsons, Dana and Tiffany, each with 4 on the floor for Tennessee. You
got McCrae on Gorsica.
And a reach-in foul on McCray. She switched out on the Palmisano and committed the foul. That's the second against Nikki McCray.
Both teams
Stop fouling, says Pat Summitt. That's a great idea.
So we can, because their defense has been so effective in the second half, it's created their offense. But you slow things down, it's to the advantage of the Commodores.
Palmisano made the first. Vanderbilt by 2. 3:17 remaining. Michelle's now been in double figures in scoring in each of her last 6 games. She's 5 of 5 from the line today, 5 of 6. Vandy by 2. The rebound by Dana Johnson.
Way to go, Sean.
I jinxed her. To the delight of the UT fans in the audience. Woosley, guarded by Sam. Under 3 minutes now. McCray the pull-up. Nikki McCray has 13 points, and that bucket ties it at 64. 11 of the 13 points from McCray have come here in the second half. Gorsica short with it. Battle for the rebound. Gorsica tipped it. It wound up with McCray 3-on-1. Woosley was hammered by Cherie Sam. And that's 4 on Sam.
Well, it really started out looking like a good fast break. 3-on-1. Woosley's really in pain down there, but 3-on-1 break. I think the penetration is a little too deep. You got to stop right there. She makes a good pass. Just great hustle on defense getting back, but looks like she really shot over 83% in the career. She leads Tennessee. She's just behind Cindy Brogdon career-wise on free throws.
Tennessee by 2. Vanderbilt has gone over 12 minutes now without a field goal, and yet they still only trail by 2. And the long drought is over on a three-pointer to take the lead by Palmisano. minutes and 15 seconds without a field goal, and finally Palmisano breaks through. McCray traveled.
Well, that time Palmisano really gave up baseline to Nikki McCray, and she shuffled that pivot foot looking for the weak side help. See if Tennessee picks up their pressure defense.
12 turnovers by Tennessee. Minute 50 left. 1-point lead for Vandy. Great pass. Hillman scores on the feed by Blades.
Tennessee cannot allow that penetration.
McCray drove at the other end and was fouled on the floor by Blades, who was hopping mad about the call. 2 fouls on Rhonda Blades.
Well, Tennessee on the defensive end just got caught standing, let Blades penetrate all the way down just as she ended that first half. But Tennessee came right back down, and they've got to score quickly.
And that's what McCray had in mind. She immediately went to the goal and was fouled. She's 5 of 6 from the line. Front end, good. Vanderbilt by 2, 1:38 remaining. It's a 1-point game. Blades, Palmisano, Gorsica, Sam, and Hillman on the floor for Vanderbilt.
There's a mismatch right now.
Palmisano another 3, long with it. And Gorsica came over the back of Marciniak to keep it alive and get a fresh 30 on the clock for Vandy. Blades, Hillman double teamed and fouled. Marciniak and McCray were reaching in.
Boy, Vanderbilt really looked like they got lucky on that pass. Blades looks like she lost control, and Tennessee came out. And you're going to call that foul on Nikki McCray, her 3rd personal. And it's a knee for Tiffany Woosley. And we just hope it's not a season-ending injury.
Nashima Hillman hit the big front end of the 1-and-1.
Boy, she's shown a lot of poise for a freshman.
She has 15 points, her career high 19 set Thursday night here against Arizona. And she came into this game just a 42% free throw shooter. Second one bounces out. Battle on the floor, and a holding foul called against Blades. So they'll go to the other end, and Tennessee will have a chance to tie it at the free throw line. 3 fouls on Blades.
As you said, Sean, this second half has been marred by fouls, and this is where it's going to be won and lost at the free throw line. Who has the biggest steal of nerve?
The shooter will be Nikki McCray. She's 7 of 8 from the line today. Missed the front end. 1 minute remaining. Vandy by 2 with the ball. Davis called for the bump. Blades will shoot the free throw. 4 fouls on Davis. Pat Summitt wants a timeout. And she gets it. 55.5 seconds remaining. Back for the finish after this.
The Geo Prism has a beautiful interior and comes with
1-and-1 for Rhonda Blades. She's now 1 out of 3 from the line. 2 to tie, 3 to take the lead for UT. McCray wants it. McCray fouled before the shot.
Well, Rhonda Blades did a good job making Nikki McCray turn to the left, and then McCray just kept coming, but Blades was on that right side, and they pick her for the foul.
Her 4th, and they've come in rapid succession here. She had 10 points, did Rhonda, in the first half, has not scored in the second half. 1-and-1 for McCray. She makes both. We're tied with 49 seconds left.
And McCray only has 1 basket in the game. Everything else is a free throw.
7 of 9 from the line. Missed the front end of a 1-and-1 moments ago. Made that one. She has 16 points, 14 of them in the second half. For the tie. 70-70. 49 seconds left. Palmisano nearly had it stolen by the diving Marciniak. Now it's Blades guarded by Davis. Blades got into the basket and threw it away. And she had room under the basket if she had looked up for a shot.
Not a good decision on Rhonda Blades, who's played flawless really this game. Timeout by Tennessee.
And they can take it right down to the last shot if they want to. With 22 seconds left, the 30-second shot clock is off.
But that's not the play that's going to cost you the game. I mean, so many things happen throughout the course of the game, and one play like that towards the end isn't what it is all about. But Blades really makes a poor choice in the sense of making a long bounce pass, which, 1, it's a long pass, and 2, it's under the basket, and 3, gives the defense time to get the ball with that bounce.
Timeout, and we'll take it as well. Back for the finish in a moment.
How much sprinkles you got? More from this can than you thought. Fill the bowl from a Pringles can. Got as much as this bag, amazing man. Can you believe how much Pringles you got? So pop, the Pringles don't stop. Get the great taste you want, not the greasy mess this bag's got. Pringles, once you pop, so much more than you ever thought. You can't stop.
22 seconds left, tied at 70. Tennessee has the ball. What do you look for, Ann?
Well, for Vanderbilt not to give the inside shot or the penetration up, they've got to force Tennessee to take an outside shot. Try and get the rebound. Tennessee, on the other hand, I look for them to go to their post players.
And Vanderbilt wanted to see the alignment from Tennessee, and then Jim Foster called a timeout. Each team with one timeout remaining. (70-70), 22.3 seconds remaining. The genuine Chevy players of the game are Dana Johnson of Tennessee with 25 points and 4 rebounds, 25 points, a career high. And Angela Gorsica of Vanderbilt, 6 block shots, 7 points, particularly a spark in the first half when Vandy ran off to a 13-point lead. A check in the amount of $1,000 will be donated to each college's general scholarship fund to further assist qualified student athletes in all chosen academic fields. Oh, that was interesting. He wanted to see the alignment, and now it's up to Pat Summitt if she wants to change what she had drawn up.
Well, there's
to win it. And it looks like they will take it right down for the last shot.
And Conklin's an outside shooter. She has played post in the past, but has been moved out to that perimeter.
Marciniak with 8 seconds. Got it! And Coach Summitt calls the timeout. Ahead with Vanderbilt. Team in the country is still undefeated, and Jim Foster is still looking for his first win ever head-to-head against Pat Summitt. The Lady Vols now 11-0. The final score: Tennessee 72, Vanderbilt 70. Back to Nashville in a moment.
Those 3 bears.
Right. From behind to beat Vanderbilt by 2. Let's join Michelle Tafoya. Michelle?
All right, standing by with Vanderbilt coach Jim Foster. And Jim, you came awfully close to beating the #1 team in the nation today on your home floor.
You've got to make foul shots in games like this. We had our opportunities. We had our chances to win the basketball game. We make foul shots. It's not even a question.
This is quite a rivalry. Certainly playing on your home floor, playing at Tennessee, would it have made much of a difference?
Shouldn't matter where you play. Got to be ready to play always, and you got to do the little things, and we didn't do the little things when we had to do them to win the basketball game.
What can you walk away pleased about in terms of your team's performance today?
We've got, I'm not going to think in those terms. We've got to get better. We can't let opportunities slip away. It doesn't matter who you're playing. When you have an opportunity to win a basketball game by doing things that you do every day on a routine basis, you've got to do those things if you expect to be good, if you expect to be there at the end of the season. It's December 31st. We want to play in March, and we want to play in April. We've got to get better at some things. We know what they are, and we'll take it from there.
All right, what will you tell your team in the locker room?
That we didn't do the little things that are necessary to beat a team of the talent and level of Tennessee, and that we've got to get better at them.
All right, Coach, thanks very much for your time.
Thanks.
Let's go now to Ann Meyer standing by with Pat Summitt. Ann?
Well, Pat, it was a big win for Tennessee. What are the emotions going through coming into Memorial Gym and beating Vanderbilt on their home court?
Well, it's a very similar situation to what we've been in the last 2 seasons, Annie. It was obviously a very intense game. I thought Vanderbilt played extremely hard in the first half, and I thought our basketball team showed the same type of character in the second half that we've shown to go undefeated this season. I was really proud of our second half effort.
What adjustments did you make in the second half?
Well, all the things that we weren't doing in the first half, rebounding the basketball. We only had 2 steals, so our defense needed to pick up. So we ran some traps and some different options out of our man-to-man. And I thought we became a lot more aggressive on the offensive end.
What about not Michelle, but Tiffany Woolsey as far as her injury?
Well, this game's a big win. If we lose Tiffany Woolsey, that's a huge loss for our team. She's really been a leader for us and done a great job. She's done an excellent job on defense as well as being a settling effect for us offensively. It did not look good, but I just going to have to say I hope it's okay because we need her.
What about the play of Dana Johnson?
I tell you, Dana came to play. I told our basketball team at halftime, you just better be glad Dana got off the bus ready because she was so dominant for us inside. She played like an All-American tonight, and we need that type of play out of all of our post people. But Dana had a great game.
It was a great game for Tennessee as far as the win and for Vanderbilt as far as the play, and we're really happy that we were able to enjoy watching it.
Thank you. I'm glad CBS did this. This is excellent.
Okay.
Thank you, Ann, and congratulations again to Coach Summit. And she's been in the winner's circle once or twice before. 541 career wins now. And this one in the win column with 8 seconds left. Michelle Marciniak hoisted the shot. It was her first field goal of the game. She finished at 1 for 6. But she'd trade the 5 misses, wouldn't trade those 5 misses to get any more makes, because this was the only one she needed to help her team win, as Tennessee made up a 12-point deficit. It was Rhonda Blades with the defense and with the spin. Marciniak able to shed the defender and score. Also big in the second half was Nikki McCray, who had 15 points after the intermission to finish with 17. So the #1 team in the country remains a perfect 11-0, and Vanderbilt with the loss now 12-3. But as Coach Foster said, he's thinking ahead to March, and perhaps his team can learn a few things about itself from the disappointment today. It was certainly their game to win early on, a 13-point lead in the first half, a 10-point halftime lead, but you could see in the opening